Oh, there we go. We're live. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to our first, well, Steve and I aren't in the same room. So this is our first virtual Plastic Adventures podcast, not a podcast.
Yeah. It's hard to tell that we're not in the same room together. I mean, the scenery here obviously looks so much similar.
Let me scoot closer to Steve. And
we're going on my
you're going the other way.
Yeah, I know. Oh, okay. We're at the same table. Wait. They'll never know the difference.
They'll never know.
Yeah. Also, Doug, surrounded by awesome, cool things, and Steve with drywall.
Yeah. How exciting Steve is.
My toy collection just looks like a bunch of brown boxes right now.
But you know, you're in transition. We'll allow it.
I am, yeah. And every time I think about how sad it is that my toys are sequestered to these moving boxes, I'll just use my new check stub to dab the tears and realize that once we move into the new place, my toys will have many new friends to join them.
That's right.
But until then, it's kitchen cast for Steve, which is probably why there's a huge echo too.
And my new setup doesn't allow my camera to be facing towards all of my really cool toys. So you get to see my books and some of my cool stuff.
Yeah, you got that whale up there. That's pretty awesome, dude.
It's pretty cool. But so this is how we'll be doing the podcast for at least a while, right? There may be a few times where Steve and I might be in the same place at the same time, either me where he's at or he's over here, and we might be able to do a podcast that way. But for now, I think the modus operandi is what we're doing here. Zoom and zooming it good.
We were just too much for one room to handle.
We were too much awesome plastic goodness in one place.
I know, and once the ladies started seeing the podcast, seeing all those toys, we're like, look at those two. Well, their toys are nice. 0% female viewership, I'm sure.
Except my mom.
Actually, yes, my mom now. She misses me so much, she has stooped to watching this podcast to see me.
To see how you're doing. Say, Steve, give her an update.
Oh, that show you guys do is so cute. Thanks, Mom. I'm effing 43 years old.
But cute is what I was going for.
It was, yeah. Not like totally badass, like a black belt in toy collecting, no, cute thing that you do with your little friend.
Your friend.
Mm-hmm.
He is a plastic collector compatriot, Mom. He is
she knows she doesn't have a choice. Yeah.
All right. So,
dude, man, it's been a couple of weeks.
It has been
3-4 weeks since our last one. And there's just tons happening out there in the toy world. And I think Mattel is just lighting everybody up right now.
They are. So their big announcements last week with the Masterverse and the Origins drops that are coming in the fall, I think is what they said. Or for 2023, they all look outstanding. So all of the figures that we saw earlier in the Origins line most of them have gotten Masterverse copies. And then He-Man on top of it got like top billing for all of these ones, because not only do we get 2000s He-Man, which looks really freaking good.
Awesome. Great translation. Yep.
We get 40th anniversary He-Man on top.
Oh my God. That's like a buy two. one to keep in package, one to take out.
And and then you know, on top of that, other ones, there's things like the Tila and Zor 2-pack that I'm really excited for. But you know, She-Ra is getting a Masterverse release.
Yeah.
Hordak is getting a Masterverse release.
Yes.
It's like, oh my gosh, so they just kept coming. Oh, I think Sunman also got a Masterverse release.
Yeah, there's so much, it's just exhausting.
Yeah, there was a lot dropped.
They hit us for like 3 or 4 days in a row, and they were dropping 5 new reveals at a time. And it's been a lot to digest, but it's super cool. And that 40th anniversary He-Man, it's got that classic He-Man head sculpt. It's got a Masterverse body, and there's been some complaints about the paint apps, like the washing. I like it. I think it enhances the figure.
I think it looked all right. I didn't see anything wrong with what they were doing. All of them look like ones that I would be pretty excited to have as a collector. So I'm pretty happy with what they were showing.
Well, I'll tell you what, we were discussing before the show. Now that I live in
undisclosed location,
aka collector's paradise, because nobody shops at my Target and Walmart. Apparently, very awesome stuff's going to be easy to find. So I just got to make sure that I can cram it into a if it fits it ships box when I send things your way.
Yeah, my wife's like, so you're not going to be able to get as many toys now from Steve when he leaves, right? I'm like, sure.
Did she not realize that we're like the Navy SEALs of collecting? There is no not get it done.
Yeah, that's what that means. No.
But when these mystery packages start showing up on your doorstep addressed to you, you can be like, that's a secret, sweetheart. It's a surprise for you.
Run upstairs like, nobody has to see what's in my package.
Lock the door, install a deadbolt. I'm just transforming your I was just hiding your present.
I was looking at dirty magazines.
Yeah, because that would even be more acceptable than getting the toys. Yes,
I know. Oh man, this hobby, 40-year-old something hobby.
What do we consider, like what is it, toynography? Like
did we just coin a new word?
Old Toy Fair magazines, and you like open it up.
Oh wow.
Effing Toys R Us reissue G.I. Joes.
Oh yeah.
Baroness done in blue.
She's like, she wouldn't even be mad. She'd be like, close the door.
Slowly. Yeah. Oh, masterpiece Optimus Prime. So yes, anyways, news things that are happening.
Yeah.
Mattel crushed, obviously. Yeah. I mean, they just what they put out there like dwarfed all the other toy news.
But there was some other toy news. So for like Transformers, Legacy has been hitting shelves. People have been buying them.
It has.
So that's good to see that those are finally starting to hit shelves in mass, so people can hopefully find them. Transformers, I heard, is going to have a live action Netflix movie, I think is what they said, or something about Netflix, or there's some live action Transformer, or no, wait, not
Netflix is quitting Transformers. They're not doing CGI anymore.
They're doing an animated Transformers movie.
So what I had read, and I don't know if I'm wrong, but Hasbro went to them to do a legacy series, much like the ever so maligned Earthrise and the ones that came before it, and Netflix passed.
Did they?
They are not going to do legacy. Thank God. I
wonder who that's going to go to now.
I don't know. Nobody, maybe.
Well, it's kind of weird to have a toy line without no.
I can maybe see it going to Paramount Plus because they have involvement with the live action movies. But I mean, they gotta step that game up. The animation and the voice acting were horrible, and it had hardly any semblance of a plot. So
yeah,
it's almost like they say, make this G1 story, and they say that to somebody born in like 2012.
What's G1?
Yeah, I mean, there's the callbacks are too skimpy. The characters don't act like the characters. The whole point is to make it G1.
Yeah.
But
which we have to give credit where credit is due. So Hasbro did really well with the toy and the look of the War for Cybertron toys.
Yeah, but supporting media was
But
just
the media was not good. Yeah.
it was received very lukewarm and deservedly so. But hey, it's out there. It's something that is pushing the toys, and I'm glad to have media of any kind. But
they do need to step up the game a little bit in that regard.
yeah, it just wasn't good. It's just a bunch of, and the voice actors were it. Would they just go into a coffee shop and
Optimus Prime was a YouTuber voice impressionist, and I don't even think he did very well for Optimus Prime.
No, he sounded like
he was out of breath.
Constipated William Shatner trying to deliver those lines. Anyhow, what I had heard is that that is not happening, but it would not surprise me if Netflix did some live action CGI thing, because we know that we've got this new what do they call it, Rise of the Beasts, the new movie, and there was other things planned, and there's also another animated movie planned.
That I think that's the one I was talking about, was the animated movie.
Yeah, so, hey, maybe that's a Netflix thing. I don't know, but if they do an animated movie, I don't want to see a bunch of junk CGI. I would really like to see some, at least hand-drawn animation blended with 3D elements. I think that would be kind of neat. But
or let Transformers go back to its animation roots and give it to a really good anime company to do it. I mean, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I could handle that with a budget to get voice actors, etc.
Yeah, absolutely. You know how many people would love to see an anime Transformers again? I would. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Transformers the movie, despite all the little animation errors, I mean, that thing's today is still gorgeous.
Oh, I love that. Yeah,
and like super watchable. Toei is just a terrific animation house. So they did an amazing job on that movie. So I would love to see something like that. It would take some bucks to get going and need support of the fans, but it'll probably come.
I think the fans would support it. I think the fan support would be
there. We could hope, but we don't know much about that. We know Rise of the Beasts. In news, some of the images of the figures have been leaking from that movie, and I saw an Optimus Primal, and it's actually not bad.
It didn't look too bad. I saw that leaked image too. I think it looked pretty good.
Yeah, the toy looked a little bit more simplified, which I'm actually glad, if that's a child's toy, that it's going to be easy for a kid to actually transform. But it gives me a little bit of faith. I mean, the Bumblebee movie designs are just worlds ahead of the garbage that Michael Bay let out there.
Very true. Yeah.
But so I think we're moving in a really good direction there.
I think so. Yep. Transformers is in a good spot with Legacy, I think, and we're going to see more and more of that come out in the coming year. So I'm not too worried about Transformers, and I'm definitely not worried about Masters of the Universe or GI Joe, because the GI Joe side things of classified is looking beautiful right now too. So people are starting to see their Storm Shadows being delivered. So I know that there was some shipping problems very, very early on in that regard, but some people have started to see them. So that means that maybe we'll start seeing them on shelves in Walmarts and Targets pretty soon.
That's great. They're beautiful figures. Those are the kinds of figures that they make me want to collect classified. I don't want it enough yet.
Well, the answer to classified is the Super 7, right? And so did you see those?
That's not a very good answer, Doug. Those are $60 a piece. And yes, I did see those.
If you want to step up the game, I guess, then yeah. Super 7 looked really good, especially that Storm Shadow.
Waiting for my $75 Duke.
Man, that Storm Shadow looked cartoon accurate.
He does, and he comes with Excalibur.
Yeah, like in that one episode. Yeah,
those are terrific.
Yeah, very cool. So
Doc looked great. Man, they're just, Super 7 is killing it with these animation inspired Ultimates figures, and I even like the little 5 POA figures.
Those are fine too. Yeah, I wasn't sure how I would feel about those, but I actually kind of like them. The more I see them, and I only have 2 of them, the Storm Shadow and the Snake Eyes, but the other ones I haven't been able to pick up yet. But even though the ones I've seen them on shelves, like that Major Blood looks pretty cool.
They do. They look really good. I bought Duke, and that was it. It's a good figure, and when you hold them in your hand, it actually feels more like vintage Joe than I feel like the new O-rings feel.
Oh yeah. But those are cool too. They look good on your shelf.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm buying those. I'm buying the O-rings. Yeah.
Yeah.
That has to happen. Yeah.
What else you see for news lately? Anything else?
Well, a second chance, kind of,
Oh,
for
that's right.
everybody who missed out on Titans Returns Metroplex. That figure's coming back out, but it's not going to be Metroplex. I think they're going to call it Metro Titan. It's going to have a different deco, but it's just this massive, gigantic, like 2-foot tall action figure. I have the actual Metroplex, and I mean, you've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, you have to appreciate it in person. It's the size of a toddler.
It is.
I mean, you hold it like a baby, but you love it more than your baby because it's cool and your baby shits its pants all the time. You don't poop your pants, Metroplex. And look, you've got little friends. Do you want them inside of you? Do you want them to be around you? Oh, Fortress Maximus, I didn't forget you. Come here too, you little baby.
Oh, Omega Supreme.
And Omega Supreme. Oh my God, it's the Brady Bunch of Transformers. If I buy any more, I'm going to be Quattro or Octo former dad.
Metroplex had me at not shits his pants, so I think we're good.
Most people have me at that. So yeah, that's really exciting. But the price points jumped up. It was like $159.99, but today's current economy, it's $189. But I mean, do you want to pay $189 and get this gigantic badass mold, or do you want to pay $499 and get the other one? So it's your choice. $300.
Or either you get it now and then you don't get it and pay the aftermarket prices, which are even higher. So
yeah,
you got to take your pick. The only problem with our freaking hobby, Steve, is that I don't have enough money. That's the only problem with this hobby.
Yeah, tell me about it. Promoted to store manager, like $10 more a pay period to buy toys with. Yeah.
I got a raise and gave myself a $5 raise for me. That was it. That's all I got for all my hard work all year. All of that money goes back to my wife in the house. I get a $5 raise for toys.
Well, I think that Nicole will be a little bit tolerant of the things that are coming that I've pre-ordered and that I've recently purchased. A few of the things I'm going to show off in show and tell, I needed those. And she now understands what I need them really means.
What does it mean, Steve?
It means I effing need it. It's not even like the word want. It's stupid. Want is like
did you misunderstand me? I said need.
Need is like, sweetheart, I love you, but if I do not get this toy, I will die. That's what it means. That's what it means.
Do you want me to die? Then give me this toy.
I need it. You need your medications. I need my toys.
That's how it works, man. I get it. I understand you.
Well, and I need my medications too, but I also need toys. Yes.
You need toys more. All right. You got any other news or should we go right into show?
No, let's do some show and tell.
How about you go first? Because you got some really cool stuff.
I do. Actually, I got 3 things that I wanted to show off. One of them I got before I moved up here, and I really wanted to show it because I think they are super, super cool. So, I finally took a step off of the edge and I fell into the Marvel, 4-inch retro line with the 5 points of articulation.
Yep.
The people that piss and moan about it, they don't get it. They don't get it. When you hold one of these, it's like holding a Secret Wars figure in your hand.
Yeah, I get it.
It's like holding a vintage Star Wars. And then, well, they need to have more articulation. Have you seen the hot mess that are Marvel Universe figures? Some of them are really, really good. And then other ones are
super
they're just
overly
so
articulated.
Cut up with articulation, and then they're weak joints and they don't stand together. They don't stay together. So this is a little something I got off of Hasbro Pulse.
I love that.
It is the Jean Grey and Wolverine 2-pack that they're doing. And what's interesting about this, Okay, so for starters, let's see if you can see this. Do you see how thick that cardstock is?
That's thick.
Hasbro, what the crap, dude? Why aren't you using this cardstock on your O-ring Joes? Because this thing's flat as hell.
That's
but
beautiful.
This is the Wolverine that you get.
Look at that. Look at that hologram. That's beautiful.
It is, yeah. It's like a metallic kind of hologram. But what's better is I love it. It's that classic yellow and blue Wolverine. Even his claws are sort of nerfed and rounded. It's hard to see in the package.
But he's squatty too. He looks like he's chunky.
He is.
I like
He's
that.
like actual Wolver scale.
Yeah.
And this is the Jean Grey that goes with it.
Oh wow, that's beautiful.
And she's taller than Logan.
She should be.
Yes. So also metallic. I love them. I think this pack's about.
Those are beautiful,
$22.
man.
Yeah, $22 on Hasbro Pulse. And actually, when they come out, they've got that wave that's going to be Venom and Wolverine and a few others. That's brown suit Wolverine. I'm buying him and Venom, like no questions asked. So that was a really neat find. And what at Steve's only Target for Steve collecting.
Undisclosed location Target.
Yes. We've kind of gone into in depth on my mental issues about certain paint apps and certain toys, right? Like I buy one and then the better paint app comes and then I got to spend another like $23. Well, such is the case. This is the Buzzworthy Bumblebee Cup. And really the only difference between this and the other Studio Series Cup, it's the same figure, but we have this painted in now. And some of the paint, some of the other apps, I'm going to flip it around and let you see the vehicle mode. It is far more accurate to the movie than what we got. So, I mean, it's like the definitive cup for like the 6 people out there who like Cup and want a definitive Cup.
But he still transforms the same. There's no difference.
Yeah. But the new paint deco, it mirrors the movie. And I like the other one with that translucent chest shield thing, but this just looks so much more like the movie. So happy to, spend $50 on achieving the perfect cup between those two purchases. But the other one is relates to news that we are talking about.
Yes.
And I discovered Legacy Skids.
That is beautiful, man.
It's super cool. They had Skids and they had Bulkhead. So that wave is coming. And I'm going to show you the back of them really quick here.
Yeah.
They got this
Skids.
QR code. I'm assuming that's for some, you scan that and this must be like tech specs that show.
That's what I'm assuming. Yep.
Which is really neat. I'm glad to see those back. And because kids today can't do anything without electronics, we had to involve that somehow. But interestingly enough, this is my Studio Series Cup had a plastic window that covered
Notice
the thing.
that.
But this guy,
wow,
nothing. It's just open.
That amazes me that they actually are doing that. Still, he's a great looking figure. Very cool.
Yeah, I'm very happy to have it. And I really should have taken him out of the package and played with him. But since all my other toys are in cardboard purgatory right now, I just didn't have the heart. So
well, you got nowhere to put him yet. So you just got to wait till you get your room set up. Then you can take him out. Yeah,
that'll most likely be the plan there. But I'm not the only one that got some super rad stuff. So I think you need to show off the things that you've gotten.
Yeah, I got some things. So my thing lately has been trying to go back and fill in some of the holes for the War for Cybertron line. I know that there's some that I'm just, it's going to take a miracle for me to get.
Yeah.
Ratchet, Ironhide, Jetfire, to name a few. But there are still a lot of Transformers from that line that I don't have that are still on the affordable side of things.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and if you look long enough, if you scroll long enough and you go through eBay, you will get lucky. So one of them was I decided to go for the triple changer Headmaster, the only triple changer Headmaster, I think, for the War for Cybertron line was Snapdragon. So he's actually
That's
a really
great
cool
figure.
He's a really solid figure too. There's no loose joints on him. He's very, very solidly impacted there. And there's his triple changer. I can't do this right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. I mean, that thing just screams G1 only with
He's
articulation.
So his other horror con buddy, Ape Face, is another one of those that's on the higher end of the money scale. So he'll have to take some time to find, but I'm sure I'll find him too. Eventually, I will get that one.
Yeah, yeah.
And then for the Generation Selects for the War for Cybertron line, had some pretty good ones too, and I'm trying to fill those out. And I got Rotor Storm.
Yeah.
And he's a really decent looking figure. I really like the look of this guy.
Yeah, looks great. That's one of the ones they actually did a really, really good job on.
Yeah.
And you got that funky color ramjet that actually kind of grew on me.
That ramjet is a really good figure. I like it. I'm thinking about trying to grab that Sandstorm that goes along with him.
You got Overlord too, didn't you?
No. I was thinking about it, but
no. Okay. So that was a holding off, or something happened and it didn't work. Okay.
Yeah.
I did just think of one more piece of news, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to steal your thunder.
No,
but when you mentioned Triple Changer, you guys better get out there and take a look, because they just announced the new Triple Changer Blitzwing.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah, he looks pretty cool.
Dude, yeah, even the tank mode has the weird canopy from the jet coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, terrific. It's awesome toy.
He looks very G1-y, beautiful, right?
Yeah.
But blocky and cartoony at the same time. So I love it. Yeah, he looks
and he's in Voyager scale. He's not a leader scale figure. So when you put him up next to Megatron and Soundwave, he'll scale out appropriately to him. So I think that was really well thought out.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to see if I can save up and get Astro Train first.
Oh yeah, he's a good figure too.
Yeah, because you got to have both of those guys if you're going to get Blitzwing, you've got to try to get Astro Train. So
and you can forget trying to complete the Autobot Triple Changers. There's about one that's worth getting over on that side, and it isn't the one that becomes the jet that should land on itself on the air.
No. The Triple Changer that they had for that line, Springer, which I was able to get. He's a pretty good figure, but man, that dude is hard to transform. I transformed him one time and I'm like, no, never again. This is beyond my transforming ability.
Half the time I don't even transform him. I take him out of the package in robot mode and put him on the shelf.
Oh, well, yeah, good stuff for show and tell. Hopefully in the future with our secret location, maybe some things we'll get some better show and tell too. So
I lucked out, man. Walking into these stores, they're both a little bit smaller than their superstore counterparts. Not a ton, but it's scaled back, but it's dense. I'm looking forward to getting into Walmart tomorrow morning and seeing if any of this collector-thon thing that they're putting on has come out, because they finally came out and showed the Lady J and the Baroness in official images.
Which we already had the Baroness. We got the jump on that one.
Yeah, we did.
But that Lady J and the Destro and Gung Ho for the retro card looked really good. Yeah,
they're great collectors. It's second chances and better, and I shouldn't say better, but alternate decos that you might really like. Yeah. So I'm pretty excited to see those. Movie masterpiece Perceptor.
Oh yeah, for the 86. If you find him, that's an instant grab too.
That one and Buzzworthy Silver Streak.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh yes, please. You got to find those for me. Oh my gosh, that Silver Streak. He looks so beautiful. Yeah, it looks terrific. So, and if I get him, I'm automatically naming the other the other blue streak, Silver Streak, and this one Blue Streak. That's just the way it's going to be, and how it should have been. Yeah. So those got to be coming any minute. And Terraclaw Skeletor. I mean, a lot of specialty retail have been getting those. So eyeballs peeled. I'll get that. I actually, the Target that's near me has Mosquitoes and Clamp Champs. Oh, Mosquitoes. I missed out on that one. Okay.
Okay, well, at some point tomorrow, I'll hop over there to take a look at the scenario and probably at least grab you that consolation prize since I didn't get you a legacy Skids. I wanted it. I wanted it worse than I care about you. So,
and I completely understand. I totally understand.
So, yeah, I guess we're out of news at the moment.
Yep.
Yeah. So
show and tell. So I think we move on to the topic.
Yeah, and the topic for this podcast today, right now, show mark out moments, particularly like in 80s movies. And what we mean by that, we're using a wrestling term, mark out. It's when you fully engage and it just gets you. And it's moments in these movies that get you every time. Just something that gives you goosebumps, something that just like fully solidifies your love of a movie or a franchise.
Absolutely.
So yeah, did you want to start us off, Doug?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So I'll start off with some of my lesser movies. And some of these movies are we talked about before in the past when we talked about maybe some of these movies should have gotten toy lines or something like that too.
Yeah.
So, but I have my library of movies that I love, and I'm sure that I love the same movies that a lot of these other 80 kids loved, right? So one of the movies with one of the best mark out scenes was Kroll. You remember Kroll?
Oh yeah, love Kroll.
Okay, so Kroll had a lot of good things about it. First of all, it was very cool. The scene where he reaches into the lava and he pulls out the glaive and shakes it off and all that, right? That's a good mark out moment. But the best moment in that movie, hands down, is when they go and they ride the fire mares, when they get on the horses, right? And you see they're riding on the blue screen and you see Liam Neeson and everybody just riding these horses. But then it pulls away to the money shot, right? And it shows the big cavern and it's at nighttime and it shows these horses just running on air and the flames coming out behind their hooves and stuff. And it's just, and then of course you have James Horner who did the soundtrack for that.
Yep.
And this was at the time when he was at his height. He was doing Star Trek. He did Star Trek 2 and 3.
Oh man, dude, that Wrath of Khan. I mean, there's a million mark out moments in that movie.
And it was on my list, but I had to start off with this one because that moment when the fire mares jump over the canyon and they're riding, like solidified that as this is one of Doug's library movies. This is he's gonna watch this now at least once a year for the rest of his life.
Okay. I'm gonna start off with one of the absolute strongest for me. I'm not even gonna ramp up to this thing because it's something that I will watch this movie for like an hour and 35 minutes just to get to this one point, even though I can fast forward it. And I've watched it multiple times on YouTube. If you could wear out a YouTube, I might have. It's the build-up and the moment from Masters of the Universe when He-Man gets to pull the power sword and says, "I have the power." Yes. The music swells and you know, it's dun 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 dun, and Skeletor is trying to get him with that lightning, and it's hitting him in the hand, and he's no, and he finally gets the sword, and he pulls the sword and does I'm getting goosebumps.
And he says it in the Dolph Lundgren, "I have the power."
And the music was timed perfectly in the scene, you know, dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
That's Bill Conti.
Dun, 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 dun. He's holding it up. Man, that like every time. I love that movie. I know a lot of people don't like it because, you know, He-Man didn't have the Prince Valiant haircut, the page boy, and no Orko, but it was just like darker and grittier and more like grounded than the original Masters, and that it just made me love Masters for the second time. And that is
I liked it. Moment. I loved that movie. And here's a little secret. You know what Doug watched today while he was working at home?
Masters of the Universe.
Oh, I watched that today.
I have the power.
Oh man, Gwildor's still I can't stand Gwildor, but I love the rest of that movie. And Frank Langella as Skeletor. I don't know who was high when they thought about that, but it worked. It worked beautifully. Frank Langella as Skeletor was a stroke of genius.
And he was all in. He was all in.
100% in.
His whole like monologues from the movie at some point when you just got his friends like, when's this guy gonna stop? Or he's going way over the top, and you can just see Evil Lynn watching it, thinking, "What the crap?"
Him and Evil Lynn's interactions, like when she's talking about how having to go back to Earth and go back and forth, and then he throws her down, and he goes, "Then you go lead," and she's like, "I wasn't intending for me." He's like, "Then you shouldn't have spoken."
Yes.
Way to go, Frank. That was an awesome delivery.
One of my absolute favorite moments in any movie.
Yeah, that was a good one. Okay, so I'll go for my second one then, and we were talking about this one earlier. Transformers, the animated movie from 19.
Oh, yep.
And so, of course, every part about that movie is good. I do love that movie, but the big scene is the fight scene between him and Megatron.
Yeah, the whole build-up.
And him having the wound in his side from Megatron, and then Megatron just shooting him multiple times and going, fall. And then when he finally does, he gets that last bit of Optimus Prime awesomeness behind him, and he just lays out Megatron.
He just breaks Megatron with a punch.
In one punch, just breaks him. And then, rolling into the scene where he dies, which...
That was tough.
Man.
I'm glad I didn't see that in the theater when I was a kid, because I would have lost my shit.
It's still one of those tough scenes to watch, because even though he's Optimus Prime returns, he comes back in the cartoon later, and all these other things, but how they did it, how they build up to that, and very few movies even can do that these days.
Yeah, the magic of Transformers is that you care, and they're people, and that whole, like, from the beginning, that whole sequence from when he comes off of the shuttle and sees the devastation in the city, knows what's at stake, and the Megatron must be stopped no matter the cost. They took Optimus Prime, and that is like maximum Prime from start to finish.
It is.
Everything that makes him such a great and heroic character, they just dialed it all the way to 10. And you just see how badass he can be when he needs to be violent, and just basically walked on Megatron the entire time. Nothing held back, knowing that if he doesn't, it's not like he takes killing lightly, but if he doesn't stop this guy once and for all, then everybody dies. So that is like probably maybe above Masters of the Universe for me, but definitely one of my favorite sequences ever in a film.
It's one of the best altogether, put together very well scenes of not just an animated movie, but pretty much of any movie that's probably going to be on this list. So it's Optimus Prime is one of those characters that we've talked about before that is just, he epitomizes a lot of the things that we care about as a role model, right?
Oh, most definitely.
And so that's not only, you have all that behind you, but then when you see that guy die on screen, it's something inside of you just kind of
it's completely heartbreaking.
It is. It very much is. And so the emotion you feel as you're watching that is portrayed on screen as well from the other Autobots and stuff that are around. And so it's just a very emotional, very impactful scene. And I love it. That's one of my favorites of all time.
100%. Well, I can lighten it up for us with another one that I think that you're going to really like. 1990 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The purse thief runs into Casey Jones.
Yeah.
You just knew, like, you saw Casey Jones and you instantly just thought, man, this guy's badass. I love this guy. Because you saw the goofy ass Casey Jones in the cartoon who applied for the job at Octopus Inc. wearing his hockey mask. And I don't recall if he was wearing a business suit or not when he applied, but that would only make it better.
But he never took off his mask.
No, not in the cartoon, but in that movie, Elias Koteas just destroyed as Casey Jones.
He's the only Casey Jones for me, I think.
Well, 100%. And there were a lot of other great scenes in the movie with him too. But that one, that establishing the tone and feel of Casey Jones, in what now I did see that in the theater, and I just thought I was blown away.
I saw
And
that
then
in theaters as well.
knowing that he's standing up to a fully trained ninja, he retreats because he's going to get his ass whipped at some point by Raphael. But
Tell me that's not one of the best back and forth dialogues between two guys who ultimately end up becoming best buddies. I mean, come on, tell me that's.
Did it have to be a Conseco bat?
Tell me, you didn't pay money for this.
Other people sucked harder than Conseco. Come on, man.
And that was at a time when Conseco was like at the top of his game.
Apex. Yeah, or maybe it was just rounding that corner after the benching at the World Series. But I heard when I saw that part, I was like, ooh, I got a lot of those cards. I got a lot of them.
Yeah.
So what about you? You got what do you got there?
So my next one is also animated. In same lines for Transformers. It's the G.I. Joe animated.
Oh, yeah.
And when you have so there's a lot of good ones in that movie too, right? But I think the best moment, like the geek moment, was when Sergeant Slaughter was going up against Nemesis Enforcer.
Dude, I had that moment on my list. Yes. Yeah, this is for Gung Ho Alpine and Bazooka. This is for Falcon. This is for Duke. And I mean, nothing screamed more USA at the time than, and this is for the US of A. He hits him, and then he yells after he hits him.
I know. And so Slaughter in the cartoon, okay, so if people didn't know, is completely different than Slaughter in real life.
Yeah, his real life counterpart would be Sergeant Slobber, because the guy has never hit a gym.
So we can't really kind of equate the two characters, even though they share the same name. And the Sergeant Slaughter for G.I. Joe was inspired by Sergeant Slaughter from WWF at the time.
And AWA, yeah, they kicked him out because he wanted to do G.I. Joe. And at the time, WWF figures were being produced by a rival company, LJN or something,
LJN,
those rubber wrestlers, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But Sergeant Slaughter cartoon version is one of the best G.I. Joes of all time. I love Slaughter cartoon version. The way he talks, the way he just, you're gonna go home in a ditty bag, an itty bitty ditty bag.
Yeah.
Come on, that's beautiful. I mean, but yeah, the Sergeant Slaughter Nemesis Enforcer fight is just is great. It's another one of those great movie moments.
Well, in keeping on that, the whole entire intro to G.I. Joe the movie.
Dude, I wonder how much that cost them. Did half of their budget go into making that intro? Because that was a gorgeous intro.
Crazy. And you had like the maximum amount of Joes you could cram in for a half second of screen time. And there's nothing more patriotic. Well, I mean, maybe for the US of A, but when Duke picks the flag up and he takes it up to the Statue of Liberty. That whole thing, that music, those two guys that did the Joe theme song, they wrote that too, and they just amped it up, and it sounded so great. And they kept the voiceover like, G.I. Joe is the code name for America's daring, highly trained special mission force. They kept that in.
But not only that, they added another aspect of the song for Cobra.
Yeah.
Right? They added the Cobra part of it too.
Cobra got a theme
into that. Yeah. So yeah, that whole the opening sequence is good. I mean, if that doesn't hook you, excuse me, I don't know what does.
No,
if you're thinking in a movie that the opening wasn't great, and then you got to the Sergeant Slaughter fight, and you're like, well, I can live without this, then we don't want to talk to you.
No, man.
You're not the kind of person I want to talk to.
That could possibly be better than the intro for the movie, as far as like because the whole time you're just begging for it to happen. You're watching Nemesis Enforcer punk out these other Joes.
Yep.
And he's powerful, and he cheated to beat Sergeant Slaughter the first time, or he threw that thing on his face.
Yep.
You're just like, dude, Sarge needs to get a piece of this guy, that big sleaze bat. He needs a piece of him.
He gets him. He gets him, and that's what makes it all.
It's like he breaks his wing off at some point.
Yes. You hear bones crack when he's fighting him, and he grabs him in that headlock. Oh,
yeah. That's
a good scene.
Yeah, the intros are really another good one for me. Yeah. You got what else you got on your list?
Oh geez. Okay, so I wore one of my shirts for one of my favorite 80s movies. So,
oh yeah, there you go.
Dark Crystal. So
I wore my undershirt from work.
So the Dark Crystal it was a breakout movie on its own.
Yes, 100%.
It was fully puppets. There was no human other than inside the suits of the Skeksis and the Gartham. But there were no humans in this movie. Everything was puppet. Everything was alien. And so every scene was kind of beautiful in its own because it was done very, very artistically and very well done. And Jim Henson, top of his game at this time.
Yeah, I mean that's maybe above Labyrinth as far as
As far as I'm concerned. I know other people, will go back and forth on that, but as far as I'm concerned,
see some David Bowie not wearing any underpants though,
or David Bowie with whatever that cod piece. I don't know. We're not going to talk about David
trying
Bowie's
to pick up on a 17-year-old. Yeah.
but my favorite. So there's a lot of favorite parts in that movie for me, but the one that is actually kind of like probably it's not like a high impact scene, right? It's a scene that kind of showcases how well his puppetry is at this point, and kind of really sells you on the whole movie. It's the scene just after Jen and Kira run into the Chamberlain and they run away, and he says, "I wish I'd never," or no, it's before he runs into the Chamberlain. He says, "I wish I'd never heard of this shard," and he throws it. It's after the pod village has been destroyed. And so then they wake up in the morning, and it's like the whole set, like I don't know how big this set was, but it was enormous, and it was just the jungle, all big, all like alive. You see all these little tiny puppets moving in the background, all these little tiny creatures, and then you see the two Gelfling just laying on the ground, and it was like a very soft, very alive moment. And that was the moment that kind of sucked me in as like this was another world, right? This is
you have to give it to the cinematographer for being able to capture these emotions from these puppets. That movie's insane. I cannot believe that a movie with those tools at that caliber was produced at the time. It is so sadly lacking in today's movies.
Well, like I said, there's many scenes in that movie that are just absolutely beautiful, but the whole movie itself is a breakout. But they tried to not really do a sequel, but they tried to do a prequel of it on Netflix, and they did an okay job.
Yeah.
The only problem is the story wasn't written by Jim Henson. Yeah. It was written by a third-party person who was a fan of the Dark Crystal, but he wasn't the creator of the Dark Crystal. So I felt that it kind of went in a different direction, and you didn't get the feeling from the Netflix show that you got from the movie. And so, but Dark Crystal, that one scene specifically after the pod village was destroyed, very good, very well done. I don't think as far as puppetry is concerned, a movie has come out since that can beat that yet. No, that I consider that to be the apex. I mean, you could say like Team America World Police, but that whole thing was just a South Park farce. But that was meant. You were meant to know that those were puppets. Yeah. It wasn't. This was completely different. This was you were meant to think that these puppets were real. Yeah, you were sucked into this immersive world. And there were very specific scenes in Team America, just like banging the puppets together to do things. Yeah, that I love. It was very the barfing scene. Yeah. So
I got one for you that I think you're gonna like.
All right.
Spock, it's been 2 hours. Is the ship ready?
Oh gosh, yes.
Yep, Wrath of Khan. And a lot of people would say that Khan, that's the mark out moment. For me, it isn't. Just like Optimus Prime in Transformers the movie, that sequence leading up to Kirk contacting Spock is top level Captain Kirk. So everybody thinks they've been marooned.
Mhm.
And the doctor is showing him around and what she created with the Genesis device. And he's hungry. He wants to have an apple. And, he's just casually talking to him, and Bones is in the scene. And when he flips his tricorder up, it's been 2 hours. Is the ship ready? And Bones just has this like, what? Starfleet
and
regulation.
Savage sitting there trying to tell Spock that he lied.
Yeah,
right?
I exaggerated.
It was an exaggeration. But so I have to agree.
Oh yeah, it was.
In Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, is the epitome of that character. Like, we have all of the original series, we have everything that came after that, and they're all good. But Star Trek II, Wrath of Khan, Kirk is Kirk. Kirk. There's
clever, like everything that was great about him, and he just really got the business stuck to him by an opponent he wasn't expecting. But man, that moment when he calls up, you're just like, no effing way.
Yeah. Well, and the whole lead up to that, like, he's talking about the Kobayashi Maru and how he cheated.
I don't like to lose.
And yeah, exactly. I don't like to lose. And it's like, oh my gosh, that's such a Kirk moment. That's such a Kirk line.
I don't believe in the no-win scenario.
So yeah.
But then by the end of that movie, you have one of the saddest movie moments. I don't think for me, it's not quite on par with as Optimus Prime dying, but that scene where he can't
damn
touch
close.
Spock, and they're coming down and they're putting their hand on the glass and he's following Spock down the glass. Man, that is probably one of the saddest death scenes ever put into a movie. And right up there with Atreyu's horse sinking into the mud.
My wife and I still say that. Artax, no! Don't let the sadness get you, Artax. But no, and that movie is also one I like to point to, where in Hollywood has shifted these days away from trying to highlight a male on male friendship that is strictly a friendship. And Kirk and Spock's relationship are the epitome of what I think a healthy male friendship is.
Yeah,
and so
and I think you can throw Bones in there too, though.
Well, absolutely, but what I'm saying is that their relationship was so close that you can feel the despair and the sadness when, I mean, he didn't yell Spock's name when he died. He's just like, no. You're like, if that doesn't choke you up, I don't know what does. And like when you talk about ultimate friendships in movies and things like that, Kirk and Spock are at the top.
Yeah, and then you had that music. The score of that movie was a
James Horner again. Yeah, 1982 to 1984. James Horner is, oh God, I love his music. I love his music so much. He did that one. He did Search for Spock. He did, like I said, he did the Kroll soundtrack. You can put the Kroll soundtrack over Star Trek and it will work. I don't know if you knew that, but
I think that yes, that's correct. Yeah.
So
what do you got? What's your next mark?
All right. So my next one. So we're gonna kind of move away from the sci-fi and fantasy vibe and go into the buddy cop genre. So mine is Lethal Weapon.
Got it.
Okay. And the oh my God moment, right, is Martin Riggs on the top of the ledge with the guy who wants to jump. And he's like going through the whole thing about, hey, can I just come out and talk to you? Can I, I don't want to do anything. My boss is down there. I got to make this look good. He's trying to get on the guy's side. And then as soon as he gets in with an arm's reach, he handcuffs the dude and says, do you want to jump? Do you really want to? Well, that's fine with me. Let's go. And he jumps. And of course, everybody notices the scene where the handcuffs break and he grabs the guy's hand and falls down. But that's not the point. The point is it shows you how far Martin Riggs is willing to go as this character.
It was very establishing to that character. Yeah.
It was very establishing. And then the scene right after that, where Murtaugh calls him out to the side and says, get in here, and he talks to him. He's like, do you really want to kill yourself? Then go ahead, put the gun in your head and let's do it. And then he's like, well, put it in my mouth, to make a bigger impact. He's like, you don't nibble on the barrel, just pull the trigger. And then he was gonna do it. He was gonna do it in that moment. That moment, you can see in his eyes and in Murtaugh's eyes. In Riggs's eyes, he was ready to do it. It was gonna happen. He was gonna do it. And you saw the moment of fear in Murtaugh's eyes, realizing that he was going to do it. And that's another one of those things.
Very strong scene. Good
very
chemistry.
Very strong scene. In just their eyes alone. So that's one of those call out moments, those big moments of like, yeah, that's what makes an okay movie good, and that's what makes a good movie great.
Yeah, and when you look at Lethal Weapon, it's great, but it shows its age.
It does.
Like when you watch it, it shows its age. But there are special moments in that movie that make you forget about the age, that make you just, you're still sucked in and you want to see what happens next. Yeah. My favorite Star Wars moment of all time. So it came in The Last Jedi. I'm kidding. Hoth battle. When the walkers are coming and there's that scene when the guy's got his thing and you hear this boom and he looks over and you see this big structure and then he pans up and it's the AT-AT walker. And to me, that is just such a great and special scene. And those things are like these invincible killing machines, and they got to figure out a way to slow them down. Man, gives me goosebumps.
That's the scene where you realize that Star Wars had stepped up its game.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we had a New Hope, we had the Death Star, we had the Death Star trench run. But when you saw the walkers coming, that was when you knew this is something new. This is something.
Yeah, and they have no function other than to completely terrorize.
That's it.
You build a vehicle like that to inspire terror because it ain't because it was a good deal.
When you see a bunch of those guys walking towards your whatever it is, your village, your capital city, you're not going to be like, oh, this will be whatever. No, you're going to be scared.
Like we're dead meat. We're dog meat, pal.
Game over, man. Game over.
Yep.
Oh, that's another one that's on my list. But so mine is also Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back. But another one, it's another one of those the subtle moves. I like the subtlety of a lot of things. And I love how Cloud City, how Bespin, when you first see it, and it feels magical when you first see Bespin, and you realize that you're actually on a different planet. There's no ground, right? You're in a planet that's with the clouds, and it always felt to me like it was the city of like a perpetual sunset. Like it's always nice there. It's always beautiful, oranges and yellows and muted sunset colors, and every day it just seems so. That seemed like such a wonderful, magical place when I was a kid that always wanted to go there. Like, if you were like wishing that there was a place that was real that you've seen in the movies, Bespin is one of those places where I was like, damn, I wish I could go there.
Just wait until Darth Vader is done visiting. His deal keeps getting worse all the time. Yep.
He's worth a lot to me. Yeah. Which Boba Fett? Special edition Boba Fett or original Boba Fett? Which one are you?
I like, if I got to pick, I want to go special edition. They at least gave him a little bit more to do before he was like unceremoniously killed like a bizatch. Serious. You know, at one point there was a draft of Empire Strikes Back where he played a huge role. He was like a central villain. And that's why they pumped him up in that Christmas special, because he was supposed to be something really, really.
I remember hearing that he was supposed to, at one point in one of the drafts, he was Darth Vader's brother.
I did not read that, but
Yeah.
it makes sense for the hype behind the character, because when I was a kid, I remember seeing the advertisements, the free Boba Fett, you know, the stickers on there.
Mhm.
Oh, look at that guy. He looks cool. I bet he's important. And then you watch Empire Strikes Back, and he's just like the least retarded looking bounty hunter that's there. He looks slightly cooler than like the other jabroni level bounty hunters that they brought in.
I
At
know,
least he's
but
got
he
a cool
redeemed himself
helmet.
in Mandalorian. So, well, in the series The Mandalorian, not the Book of Boba Fett. But
The Book of Boba Fett, it had some moments, but
the Book of Boba
God,
Fett quickly became the Book of the Mandalorian.
it needed to, because that director just, Robert Rodriguez, can't do anything serious. It's always like this campy grindhouse looking stuff. It's fine if that's what you're trying to get, but we're still in space western time.
Yep.
And there needs to be some weight given to what's happening. So, I mean, it wasn't until like this several episodes in that he wasn't directing that show became palatable and actually had some cool stuff. But
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great scene, the Cloud City scene. I mean, that really felt magical, like a whole different place when you saw it.
I do love that scene, and that whole scene is what makes Empire Strikes Back for me. But I think we actually got like a minute and a half left on our Zoom time.
Oh, well, you know what?
We're coming right up. We always feel like it's going to be one of those topics, so we're like, oh, we won't talk forever on that, and then we always talk right up to the time when we got to. So
Yeah, well, that's okay. You know what? We can hang it up for now. There's other 80s movies with other great moments. It was just good being able to get this thing back on the rails again. It's been a while. Um, you know, this moving, it was just really taxing. So I'm glad to be able to do this again.
yeah, me too. I'm glad. You know, it's been been 2 weeks, at least 2 full weeks, since we were.
Since we hung out, yeah.
Yeah, so it was nice to see you again. But hey, so you know, we'll talk a little later offline. But you know, thanks for everybody for watching us. If you are watching us, we're glad that you joined us again. If there were movies that we didn't touch on, let us know in the comments. Let us know if there was a standout moment in one of those movies, or if you disagree with us. We like to hear disagreements too.
Yeah,
So,
comment below on the YouTube video, or come visit the community on Facebook.
yep. Or you can always find me on Instagram.
Drop him a line on Instagram.
The Toy Man 80s. I'm there all day, every day. All right. So like we always say, see you in the toy aisle.
And what I'm gonna say in my new place that I'm living, hope I don't.
I hope I don't see you in the toy aisle. All right, everyone. See you later. Bye, Steve.
See you, Doug.